Okay, now we are going to be working on the next set of drawers. We just finished this piece, the 4 drawers, and now we're going to be working on this 2 drawer piece. Now you can see it's a little different. It doesn't have that back section, and it has a top section. Now I hemmed and hawed about whether I should put this piece into the pattern, and in the end I decided not to. And after doing that, I kind of think that was a dumb decision, and I'm now retroactively going back and adding this to the patterns. So you will have this piece. So we're going to start out with the 2 drawer, and I'm going to have 2 pieces kind of going at the same time. And the cutout and the folding and the scoring and where you're adding the color is exactly the same on this one. However, there is one piece that's, I wanted to make sure that you knew how the cutting was going to be just a tiny bit different. Where'd my blade go? There it is. So you can see here, these are much shorter than the legs on this piece. I've shortened them, and they're at a very slight angle. And cutting these out, you can see I cut the long section and then the 2 little short sections. And then for these, I'm just going to cut them freehand, and I won't go back in using any kind of straight edge. And remember, lift them up, see if it's going to come out. There. So that's the only thing that's a little different in this one. Let's flip it over. Everything looks pretty good from the back. So at this point, I can go ahead and go on with the scoring. Now, remember, your scoring is done with bone folder and some paper underneath. Okay, you will use a straight edge for that. This is the point in which the straight edge comes back in, and we're following the little dotted lines. But I don't feel as though I need to demonstrate that again. So what I do think I'd like to demonstrate is, remember how we put these lines in for this piece because we're using the foam core? I kind of made myself a ruler. Basically, it's just for the width, but you'll be able to see it. Meaning I can hold this up and it's not like coming up to the camera again. So I'm going to come in here and really quickly do some folding. And as always, I'm like, there's a part of me that's, when I'm putting these together, I'm seeing all of the things that I didn't do correctly. So when I find something that I've done incorrectly, I'm trying really hard to make sure that I make the correction and then add it to, oh, that's too long, a list in which I make the correction, I go back in and redo whatever files need to be redone, because for some things like the armchair, I needed to sit down and like completely redo the armchair, which meant I needed to place all the wood and everything else. So I've got this here. I'm not going to worry about coloring this in right now, but I'm going to go ahead and fold. See, these right here, especially working at a small size, I think these tabs on the side are a little small. I would like to make these larger. They don't need to be very big, but if you are working this small, you may encounter, you know, it may kind of bug you. Okay, so now we've got this folded, and we want to add in these lines so we know how big to make our pieces of foam or cardboard. The first one I add in is this one on the top, because remember, there's going to be a top section that goes in here first. I line it up right against where the fold is, hold it in place, and then add my pencil line. So you can see where my pencil line is. Now, I don't press down very hard, and I'm not sure if I told you that in the previous video. You don't need to press down incredibly hard. I'm just basically giving it the lightest of line. Now, I also know that here on the bottom, I need to add this in, and I want to come back about 2 millimeters from the bottom. So, and you can tell by the way I'm holding it. When I'm holding a pencil like this and just drawing a line, whoop, instead of clamping down on it, where I'm trying very hard to draw a very hard line, there's a difference, and I'm sure that you know what those differences are. You know what that feeling is. Line that back up. Oh, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong side of that. Let's get that. And if you wanted to make your own kind of little ruler just for the width of this, make it a little longer. I just used a little scrap that I had. Now remember that this part is going to be taken up by this coming down, and that there's going to be a piece here. Okay, so I need to make sure that there's some space there, like on this one. So now I can go in and do the exact same thing here and here. And again, just drawing really lightly. The added benefit of drawing lightly is if you put something in there incorrect, getting rid of it is better. And you notice one thing I forgot to tell you about is I put this up against the fold, and if I fold this way, I know I'm far enough in there. So that's a pretty tiny little piece that I'll need there. Let's do this over here. Another reason to do this is so you don't end up marking up all of your paperboard, because that, you know, kind of bugs a little bit when you're looking for a clean piece of board and it's like, oh crud, I used all of these for little rulers and now I've got little marks all over them. So now we know that there's going to be a side piece here, side piece, ha ha ha, top, and I just call this the front because it's facing the front side here. So now we need to do is come in with our nice board, and this is a little large, so I think because I'm making these really small, I think I'm going to cut this one down just a little bit, because, and I've already gone through and made sure that this is as straight as possible. So I'm just going to come in here. I stick my thumbs underneath here to make sure that this is, because this is a thick board, to make sure it's hitting the edge. So when you see my fingers doing this, this is what I'm doing. Let me move this up a little bit. Maybe you can actually see it. Like I said, Martin Scorsese, I am not. Okay. Nice sharp blade so I don't catch anything. There we go. And I'm going to put that over there. So now remember how we did the measuring here. I think I'm going to do the top section first. And I'm going to fit it here and move it into place. Okay. And I can see right here, right there. Can you see that tiny little edge? Wow, jiggly camera is fabulous. That tiny little edge. I know where to make the line here. So I was thinking about this, and I kind of goofed up some of the cutting in the past one, the Ford drawer. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut one side at a time and hope that that works a little bit better, and make sure that these are fitted. Okay, that looks like it fits in there very nicely. And then it's way too long. I need to cut it off, but the width looks good. Okay, so now it's time to cut this off at the width it needs to be. So I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to look. I'm going to put this where it needs to be, right up to the edges, and I'm going to look for this fold line, and I'm going to make the little mark right there. And I'm gonna cut this. Remember, holding it down. And with smaller pieces, I actually cut a little slower because I don't want things to move. And then dry fit this in. Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be just a teensy bit too big. And it doesn't come out on either side. So this is a good piece. I can now take this and mark it as top. Okay, so I know that this is the top. I can set it to the side. Now we're going to work on this front piece. Now I'm going to take the front piece and I'm going to put it, I'm looking for this corner where the lines are, and I'm going to put it right there. I'm even going to butt it up against and fold it a little bit. And then I think I'm going to cut it long ways first. Make my line. And now let's cut this. I think I was rushing too much in making both lines. Again, I always learn so much about how I create and where I make mistakes when I'm trying to show someone else how to do it. Okay, that looks good. Let me see how I push that up against, because I think this is the step that I really needed. By putting in both lines, I wasn't doing this step right here. Okay, bring this down a little bit. And now I can actually, I did from the top fold and the bottom fold. And now let's cut this one. Okay, I'm going to stick my thumb on there. Ooh, it's windy outside today. And let's see how that fits. Okay, so it needs to fit here and here. Okay, that looks good. And it looks good at the top too. So you know what we're going to mark it? We're going to mark it front. Okay, I can set that aside. And now it's time to do the teeny, 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 tiny pieces. And now I've got these little, oh, are you kidding me? Oh, this is lovely. These little bits that I cut off, remember these are such tiny little pieces, they fit in darn near perfectly. So I'm going to take that and do the exact same thing. I made a mark at the top and a mark at the bottom. And these are really tiny, so I'm going to go dangerously. I don't want to get my thumb so close. Oh, see? I'm going to have to freehand this one and hold this down. Okay, let's see if that fits. 1 and 2. That looks like it fits. It's a little, sometimes I'll stop and look at them this way. That's not too bad, but I think I want to take just a tiny bit off of it. So I'm going to come in here with my sharp blade and just shave that little tiny bit off because I want it to be more square. So this matches, so I can go ahead and mark it as side piece. And the reason I'm laughing at side piece is it's one of those slang terms for you have another girlfriend or boyfriend. And since these fit in here so nicely, let's make that mark there and that mark there. Let's try something a little different here. I made these 2 marks. Let's come in and I'm going to connect these 2 and then I'll cut it freehand. Now because it's a tiny piece and your fingers are exposed, go slow. No one wants to cut their finger off for this. And believe me, I have cut myself really badly on the fingers. Okay, that fits. So we have our second side piece. Side piece. Put that over here. Now we also know that we're going to need an additional one for this front piece, the back piece, and we'll need a bottom piece. So for these, I can come in and line these up and simply trace them like I did in the last video demonstration. That's bottom. For me, it's always trying to keep the pieces that I have cut and that are ready to go, that I don't want to lose in a space where I'm not going to lose them. Okay. And remember, when we're cutting this kind of foam core, it's a lighter touch, and I kind of push it in and forward and then bring it down. So there's the bottom piece. I'll put this over here. And then where is that was front, right? That was front. Sorry. Sometimes when I'm talking, I don't hear myself. Or I don't pay enough attention to what I'm doing. So here is top piece. I'm going to do the exact same thing. And then you also want to use light touch on this type of board because it is, putting a hole in it is pretty easily. I'm going to cut all the way across this one because that's just going to prove a little easier. Okay, come on, quit wiggling, you little stinker. Okay, there. And then also having a place, okay, this is the back. Okay, a place to put the scraps. Okay, so we have back, we have front, we have bottom, we have top, we have side, and we have side. Now, we're going to follow what we did in that second method where we glue these 3 down first and then place them under some weights and let them dry nice and flat. So remember, when you're gluing these, you don't want to go like nuts with the glue. Where's my stick? Because this is paper being glued straight to paper. And once this attaches, it usually gets pretty pretty attached pretty quickly. Put these 2 little ones in. Okay. Please don't wipe your glue on yourself like I do. That's not good for you. I also have something called what is it? Dysrhidosis. It's a type of eczema that's on my hands and feet. Don't worry, you don't catch it. It's genetic. From what I understand, for me, it was passed down from my father who had it. It was somehow linked to the light hair and light eyes because only my cousins who also have light hair and light eyes have it as well. Okay. And now we're going to put it right here, and we want to make sure that it's in that fold. Right up next to that. Oh, because wiggling these around is not fun. There we go. And we're going to fit these in. There we go. See how nice and tight they are? They fit nice and tight together. So I'm going to lay them back down flat. I'm going to get my anxiety book, and I'm going to put my anxiety book right on top. You don't have to slam it down. So then in the next portion, I'm going to show you how to glue in the bottom and the top and the bottom. And remember, we're going to need some clamps for that. So get your clamps ready. And I'll see you in the next video.